My wife got upset when I changed my daughter's diaper. This is honestly so weird that I even have to ask this, but I don't know where to go with this. My wife is a stay-at-home mother. We have a 5-week-old daughter. My wife was putting on her clothes after showering and our daughter pooped, so I brought her to the changing table and my wife yelled to the other room so I can hear her, "I'll change her diaper now, just give me a second," and I was already starting to change her diaper and my wife was like, "No, let me do it," and I said, "I'm already changing her, it's okay," and she said, "No, it's weird," and she told me I'm making her uncomfortable, so I stopped. I didn't wanna keep upsetting her and I let my wife change her diaper. She apologized after our daughter was changed and she basically told me that she doesn't think any man should be around female naked babies even if you're the father. This is really strange. I know it's hard not to feel offended by this as a father. My wife has trauma in the past from this. When my wife was age 7, 13 years old, her father's sister's husband used to stick his hands down her pants and feel her around. He didn't stick his fingers inside her, she said, but she would touch her and move his hands around in her pants and rub her genitals with his hands, and I know for a fact this is why my wife is freaked out. I know she knows it's not me she's worried about. This is something that triggered her brain from the sexual abuse for many years. I just don't know what to do. She's also been to therapy for this for many years. She started going to therapy since she was in high school. Edit. Wow, I didn't know this was gonna blow up. I couldn't read everything, but I read the top comments. As I've mentioned, she's been in therapy since high school. Everyone is recommending changing therapists. She has been through 3 different therapists. I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but I don't believe she can magically be cured from a traumatic event in her life that lasted most of her childhood. She has seen so much help. This is something very traumatic that happened to her. I'm honestly just gonna try to do anything that'll make her more comfortable. That's the easiest thing I can do to ease her pain. This is our first and last baby. Your wife needs to talk to her therapist about this. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you changing your child's diaper. This is definitely a result of trauma. She needs maybe more intensive therapy and probably have a session WU also. I'm sorry man, that's rough. Encourage her to speak to her therapist about this particularly, maybe suggest a session where you go with, because her trauma is going to impede your parenting, and that is huge. She needs to talk to her therapist about this. I would even suggest a session or more with you there, because this is a situation you need to be involved in. She's your daughter too and you deserve to be able to care for her. And it obviously won't just be you. What if your daughter has to see a male medical professional? It seems to me that your wife's history is coloring her opinion of all men. I have 2 daughters, now adults. I changed their diapers and was never tempted to molest them. Most dads who have daughters did the same. I don't know how to fix your problem. You might ask your wife's therapist to work on that particular problem. For what it is worth, I bathed our daughters when it was my turn, until they could take their own baths, at roughly age 5, and, again, I was never tempted to molest them. Go to therapy together and also talk to your baby's doctor. This is trauma-related but not normal. Your child needs you and you are not sexualizing her by giving her a bath or any other changing nude activity. This can also cause your daughter to feel trauma because your wife will be teaching her a normal thing isn't normal. This can cause your daughter lifelong problems. I personally think this is a go to therapy together type situation. This specific situation needs to be talked about with a professional. I'm the father of a daughter BTW. I've changed way more diapers than I ever wanted to. She needs therapy, and she needs to realize that you are not sexualizing your daughter. I wish my ex had been as helpful when mine was born. Your wife is having a severe trauma response. Childbirth and the related postpartum hormonal upheaval are probably contributing a lot to bringing up past painful experiences, possibly even to the degree of PTSD. It's essential she speak to her doctor about this, and get into treatment quickly. This is a very weird reaction. I'm raising 2 daughters and a son. I've changed diapers, and bathed them. Seems like pretty normal dad stuff to me. I'm sensing a lot of resentments in your guy's future. We can be empathetic to PPS traumas, but once it starts to negatively affect the kids, unacceptable. It's just not healthy. What other responsibilities will you be told is inappropriate due to your wife's trauma? No potty training for you. It will always be more than just this. It's totally a trauma response, but that doesn't make it okay. Your daughter shouldn't sit with a dirty diaper because your wife doesn't trust men to change a baby girl's diaper. If you have a son, are you going to have to change all of his diapers? Will she leave him dirty all day until you get home? Or is it okay for women to change baby boys' diapers? I agree with other comments that the 2 of you need to see her therapist. This isn't healthy. I imagine I would grow resentful if my partner was implying that I would molest my baby if given access to their genitals. Glad she's in therapy because this is absolutely not normal. Would she think I was a creep because a woman changed and bathed my male child? I'm sorry for her trauma, but this needs to be addressed. This is a problem your wife needs to resolve herself, not damage you bonding with your child by projecting her unresolved issues. As a dad, you have the right to care for your child, just as much as she does as a mum. Okay, the sexual abuse explains her mindset, but she's gonna end up projecting her problems onto your daughter. The older your daughter gets, the more she'll notice this behavior. Your wife is literally sexualizing a baby, and that baby is going to grow up into a girl who's going to feel objectified by her own mother. Your wife needs to talk to a therapist about this. I have 2 daughters, I have changed 99 of their diapers, I am a man. There is nothing wrong with it. That's very odd and must be something she learned from somewhere. I'm a 42M and changed many of my daughter's diapers. She's only 7 and I still help her get dressed and wash her hair, and it's perfectly normal for a dad to help with these things. When my daughter feels uncomfortable, she will tell me, and I wouldn't dare encroach in her space if it made her feel weird. EMDR therapy. When your daughter gets closer to the age your wife was molested, she might project onto your daughter. Not fair to anyone. Wishing you all healing. I was sexually abused as a child, and this is a trigger for me too. She needs to speak with her therapist about this in detail. Make sure she does that at her next appointment, and see if she's open to having some joint sessions with you as well. You absolutely deserve to father your children without feeling like a criminal. But give her some empathy. She was very small when someone she trusted sexually assaulted her. A lot of your language is very dismissive. He didn't feel around, he sexually assaulted her. Repeatedly. For years. That is incredibly damaging. I'm sorry, but this is an absurd thing to say. Tell her how you felt about it. Talk to her and talk to her therapist about this. Nip this in the bud. It will not get better on its own, and you'll always be treated like you're a danger to your own child. This isn't a normal response. Dads bathe, change diapers, and take care of all needs of daughters. There isn't anything wrong with you taking care of your daughter. I would be worried that she is going to hinder the bonding process between you and your daughter. She definitely needs to talk with her therapist about this. There's nothing great we can suggest here, really. She has a strong emotional trauma reason for her irrational response, and she's been going to unfortunately ineffective therapy for a long time. But she has to trust you with your own daughter, and that's non-negotiable. Maybe a new therapist. Dad to a now 9-year-old daughter. You're going to need to change diapers. Your wife seriously needs to talk to someone about this because it's not gonna get better on its own. You two should go to therapy to work this out, because it must be painful for you to be treating like that by your wife. Your wife also needs individual therapy to heal from her trauma.